Hey, this is Adrien. He's been part of the Global Summed Flotilla. He was coordinating for the French delegation. How are you feeling right now?
Right now I'm feeling safe. I'm happy to be arrived now in Freiburg, and yeah, I still haven't processed everything. I feel like I need a bit of time, but because it was a long journey, and I'm happy to tell it now to everyone.
Maybe just tell us about your experience.
Yeah, just to put a bit of context. So there was the last flotilla was in last year in August, and we were about 45 ships. We got intercepted by Israel as well, with a certain amount of violence, and deported back to different countries. This year we wanted to achieve 100 boats, to have a bigger amount, to make the interception more difficult and to put even more pressure on Israel. There was a departure in Barcelona on the 12th. Then we reached Sicily, 12th of April of this year, and then we reached Sicily with other vessels. And from Sicily to Greece, we got intercepted by Israel. And this was 1,000 kilometers away from Israel. They kidnapped 180 people, destroyed 22 boats. They arrived on the boat, kidnapped the people, destroyed the boat, and left the boat floating. Those boats are just an inactive object in the sea, which is super dangerous for all the other navigation vessels in the Mediterranean Sea. And so that's like called piracy, basically. It was like no law, no justification. They put the people back to Crete in Greece. They didn't have any legal justification of that. Just kidnap people, beat them, destroy the boat, and put them in a country. Greece was complicit because this kidnapping was happening not in the territorial water, it was in international water, but in the waters where the Greek coast guards have the obligation to rescue people. So when the interception was happening, the boats were calling SOS. The Greek coast guard should have come, but they didn't, to let Israel do their thing, their piracy act. So that was already a bit of a scandal. They took two organizers, Saif and Thiago, and hold them for 12 days in Israel. They didn't have anything anything to keep them in prison or in jail or to accuse them. So they just were saying like, we are continuing interviewing them to find out. So they made like a 12-day interview. Every day for 8 hours, they couldn't sleep. They had like full light in their cells, alone, with cold air, without deprivation of everything, techniques and the beating and whatever humiliation. So this happened for 12 days. So in this context, there were remaining of 40 ships in Greece, and we met with in Turkey, in Marmaris, with 15 other ships. And in this context, we had to decide what we're going to do, because they were clear there was another escalation. We had way less media coverage, way less mass mobilization, and basically Israel already did piracy and no one cared. So it was a risk assessment we had to take individually to see if we continue or not. We decided to continue. We were around 430 people with 52 ships. We sailed from Marmaris in Turkey to Gaza. Last year we sailed as a flotilla, which made us vulnerable from interception. This year we decided to sail in 5 different groups to spread ourselves and to make the interception more difficult. This year, this wasn't an interception act. It was clearly a terrorist act. What they did, they arrived to the boat, kidnapped us with a lot of force, destroyed the boats, and then put us in a prison boat. Basically, a prison boat is like a container ship. It's a military container ship. It was like a military vessel. Israel don't need this kind of shit, but it's made by USA, given for them to basically carry some tanks and other heavy-duty military equipment. And they put like 4 containers, let's say like a square of containers, and inside there's open air court. When we arrived in the prison ship, the escalation of violence was even more. And for example, I have nail polish because I like it, and then directly like, oh, you're gay and stuff. So they always come. You always get a soldier or a policeman with you, and they always judge how much violence they can do to you. The first thing they ask, where you from? So like the passports is a passport grade. And so they saw me, I'm brown, so like a lot of violence. They saw the nail polish, gay, so it's more violence. And then I told them I'm French, so it's middle violence. And so you don't really know you're going to be handled. It's a bit like also to the appropriate. Every soldier decides for himself how much violence he's going to give. So we arrived them, we gave the passports, and I thought I would be thrown in jail. But before going to jail, we went to a container. It was one by one, we had to go through this container, and it was dark. It was just the shadow. And there was 3 Israeli soldiers, and they were just beating us. So I was like, you arrive like that to the container, and the first thing he did is just raise my hand, and then the first thing I saw was just a punch in my face. And then I never was punched. It was like the first experience, and it was like, wow, a bit shocking. And so there were 3 guys beating me down, and I was like there, and I didn't protect enough my ribs, so they were just like beating us down. And then after 2-3 minutes in the dark being beaten, they throw us out of the container, and you arrive to the open air prison. And that's where I realized, wow, I saw my cameras, there was already 100 people there, and I was like, wow, okay. What happened? And then you just really come down, you see you're in the safety zone because you have all your friends, they come to you. And then you realize that they all suffered the same. And then you start to hear the next one already screaming in the container for this violence. And so that was really fucked up, this moment. And then you start to ask like, what happened to you and stuff. So there's different range of violence, like there was sexual abuse, like touch, and also like raping abuse. There was like beating down, like me. There was like taser, like electrical things. They have also their guns, they have like spike on the guns, and they were like just spiking people on the backs and stuff. And there was 3 cases of syringe injection. And we didn't know what it was. So that was this kind of violence we had. We had a lot of broken, bruised ribs and bones, and we had also broken ribs and broken arms. And you arrived in this mess, and you just realized you have only 3 containers to sleep. That was all. So the containers were dead empty. We were in t-shirts, everything was wet to make us cold. And the wood was, wood with spikes, like when, and that's all there was. So you just here, you're 180 in this mess, and you just try to sleep. We were not enough space for us to sleep. And so you first take the people who couldn't move so much, were like heavily injured, and you help them to lie down on the fucking wood. In the cold, everything wet, and you're like, we don't know what's gonna happen. And we all tried to lie down, but there was not enough space, so people were standing up the whole night, just waiting the night to pass. That was the atmosphere we had. We didn't have enough water, we had only bread, but many of us were doing hunger strike, and we didn't have medics. One of the hardest cases was someone was suspected to have a broken rib, and we were afraid that the broken rib will pierce the liver. So we asked, we how do you say, like we begged for the soldiers to isolate him. So he was in isolation, and the only isolation he had was like a 10-meter square room. We had a thin mattress, and he had no medical assistance, nothing. And we asked for someone else to be in this room with him. And those 2 had the same humiliation, harassment, and violence. One day, this guy told me like, he saw an Israeli soldier, so they're all like masked, covered, and he was only in a boxer. And he came, and there was another soldier with his rifle, and the soldier in boxer started to seduce one of those. And he told me, like, in his eyes, he was shocked and paralyzed. He thought he was gonna get raped. And then they humiliated, beating them, and just left away. This is the kind of stupid, humiliating violence they do, and they take pleasure of doing that. That's like how fucked up they are. And so that was a bit the mood on the prison boat. It was only terror. We were in international waters, in the prison boat. It was a no-law zone, no camera zone. They could do anything, and every soldier could do anything to anyone, and it could have escalated really fast. As I said, broken ribs to the length, someone could have died because there was no fucking medics on this boat. Like it was just crazy. And then after 3 days and 2 nights, we didn't know where they would get rid of us, so they put us. We arrived in Israel, in Ashdod, in the port. One by one, we got in stress positions. This is the videos you maybe have seen from Ben Gvir, which is actually really interesting because when I was told like, oh, there's a video worldwide that is makes all the countries crazy. Ben Gvir did, and I looked at the video, and it was the least violence we had. And I was just like European in stress position. And like if it's European, it's stress position that is raising this kind of awareness, and not the Palestinians suffering from a genocide. Like, what the fuck is this world? I didn't get it when they showed me the video. I was like, this is what worked. And so we got processed. Some people got badly beaten again, and we got expulsed from the territory. There was 3 Turkish planes that took us back to Istanbul. That's kind of the story of the whole terrorist story. But the thing is, there was no legal basis. They escalated from violence. No one said anything. And still today, France, for example, just said, "Oh, Ben Gvir is forbidden from France." That's what and even the one of the minister said, like, "I don't support the flotilla. I think it's a stupid action, but what Ben Gvir did is not good, so it's banned from France." This is the kind of reply we have from our governments, and I'm really mad because we didn't have enough media coverage, although we asked for them. We didn't have enough mass mobilization because everyone is tired, but also because we didn't have any superstar. Last year we had deputies, we had like big superstars, and make like more mass mobilization, more media coverage, more everything. I mean, of course, the actuality, the news is so stuffed by everything that it's harder to focus on Palestine. But I was just pissed because we couldn't have done anything more. We did everything that we could, and it didn't raise anything enough. That was the sad part, and we don't know what we need to do to have like mass mobilization and journalists. And you've seen like the escalation of violence between the 2 flotilla because there was less press coverage. Imagine the escalation of violence in Palestine because now there is no more press coverage there. And when you see the minister Ben Gvir humiliating and making violence on Europeans, what can Israeli soldiers do on Palestinians? This is like how fucked up this is. And now this is what we're trying to show. And the thing is, like, no one really listened to our stories. The media don't listen to our story, but this time our body can talk. And we have at this time 2 other comrades from France, for example, who are still in hospital in Istanbul. One had to have an ear operation, and the other one is I'll just say, like, completely like no, she has a thing. Yeah, she has a necklace, something she shouldn't move because she has something broken. One has a spine broken. Like I was like, the hardest thing is like it was some really nice and amazing and loving people got beaten so badly, and we were here to help them standing up. They were suffering. They had to do the 2 hours, 3 hours stress position just like us. They were suffering like hell. That was how fucked up that was, and that was European. Like, this one was Greek, and no one cared. For example, we had like a judgment. It was just a joke. Like, we had like 1 minute judge. I was just asking a question: "Do you want to go home?" So no justice there. And we had a medical. We could see a medical doctor. We didn't know if he was a doctor. He didn't talk. He was just taking a picture of us, but not everything, and nothing happened. So we had like no medical assistance, no legal assistance, nothing. And that's why they are doing their own rights and whatever they want, and no one is still stopping them. And that's what's sad. So now. I don't know what's next. I don't know if we're going to do a flotilla soon because there was some concern about this flotilla. So we'll see. But we will continue to fight for Palestine. Of course, there's already many action, but the Global Summed Flotilla is a bit different because it's worldwide activism, and we'll have to find the big action that will mobilize all of us again. So we'll keep on thinking and supporting all the actions for now.
And free Palestine.
And free Palestine. Everyone is going to the medics and filing and having the reports, and they're going to file a thing at the international court, but also by country. But this take up for 5 to 7 years or whatever. So I'm not counting on that so much. I think it's important to do, but that's kind of the juristical world. I think the only way to change things is mass mobilization. That's the only thing that can happen. So yeah, it's really important that we do that. It's important that there is like a trace of everything. But personally, I don't count on it for change so many things.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your stories, and just know that you have a lot of people around you, even if the media doesn't pick up. I think you and all the people from the flotilla, you have like millions of people listening and just wondering about you, and complete solidarity with you. So thank you for sharing your story, and
thank you so much.
I hope people come out like in support of this. I'm sure
most of us are okay now, and we are safe, and we are well taken care of. So we're all going to be okay. That's a good thing, and we'll be back and ready to fight again soon. I go.
Amazing. Love to hear that.
Thank you.